Absolutely fantastic. Right, let's get back to ground number 5. Super League, of course, coming back this weekend. This is where we left the league table. The Robins sitting top of the shop with 8 points, a perfect 4 from 4. Then the Leopards, Saints, Warriors, FC and Rhinos in the top 6 spots. Trinity just outside. Then the Wire, Dragons, Tigers, Giants and Red Devils. And of course, that bottom 2 will go head to head. We'll be talking about that in a few moments' time. But before we do, it's time to check in. We didn't do this last time. We've saved it for this one. Let's see who's leading the prediction league. It is a joint, well, it's a tie. Greg and Steph both on 57 apiece. You're a long way off there, Jolie boy. A good 21 points behind. That said, I'm not doing much better. The non-members, they're sitting in third with 48. The members, 47 for them. Earl on 43. Then me, 39. Joel, 36. But yes, Steph and Greg, congratulations, sirs. Sitting joint top there of the division.
Shall we stop the league now, Steph?
Absolutely, mate. I think after last season's performance, we're doing incredibly well there, mate.
Incredibly well. It's been turned upside down, gentlemen. Many congratulations to you.
Season now.
Stop the season now. Right, let's get into it. Let's get into this one. It's massive. Thursday night, 8 o'clock. What a game. Joel's already got his hands in his head in his hands. Wow, just wow. This is a game of absolute significance. Only one team is going to be on 0 points come 10 o'clock this Thursday night. Who is it going to be? Is it going to be Salford? Is it going to be the Giants? Absolute one not to miss. It's going to be fascinating. Joel, I will come to you last. Greg, I'll start with you as you're underneath myself there on the screen. I'll go down as it looks. Salford Giants, mate. I mean, for pride,
yeah.
And for pride, both of these two sides desperately need a win. Over to you, mate. What a game.
I'd love to get to this game. I think this is Paul Rowley's team talk of his career after what's gone on. It's an absolute must win for both sides. And having said that, it's Luke Robinson's team talk of his career as well. I think there's more pressure on the Giants, and Joel may disagree with me on this one, but personally, I believe there's more pressure on the Giants to win this than there is on Salford because of what Salford have gone through. Well documented. We're not going to go through that again.
Yeah.
They may have lost some more players by the time this game kicks off. We don't know yet. But I get the feeling, and this is going to delight my Huddersfield friends, that Salford are going to scrape this 1-8. And I think it's going to be another case of Huddersfield dominating first half and falling away in the second half. And I'm going to go Salford 1-8.
Fair enough. Salford 1-8, says Greg. That's an interesting one. Right, okie dokie. Mr. Sale.
Yeah, it's a fantastic tie, this one. I'm sure everyone will be tuning in on Thursday night to watch this. Going to be an absolutely fantastic contest. For me, a lot's going to come in terms of what Salford can put out there. So that's the big factor, isn't it? Like the betting has been this year.
Suspended.
Yeah, well, that's it, isn't it? So I'm going to go for Huddersfield. I think they're going to turn it around. I think this is the game where we see Luke Robinson's side come forward. We're going to go 1-8 Huddersfield.
You're going and scraping it?
Yep.
Okay. Now, obviously, I'm really I'm going to go to Joel now. I want to get him in a good mood before he starts speaking. So, just one more.
Give your head a wobble.
Yes, there is one more. Because, Joel, this just to get you in a good mood, mate. Because we had Andy Shute a Huddersfield Giants fan that's gone on to socials tonight, and this is what he said. He said, "What do we have to do to make the team believe we continue to capitulate to teams who are no better than us? Please let me coach this team for one game." Andy, I think there's a U where there should be an I in your name, mate, because that is utter garbage, sir. I don't know what your coaching credentials are, but quite frankly, is what I would say to you. Absolutely never in a month of Sundays will we ever see Andy shoot in the dugout at the Huddersfield Giants goal. Hopefully that makes you feel a little bit better. Tell me, Salford against Huddersfield, can your team do it?
Yeah, well, okay, well, I don't know him. So that doesn't really help. Yeah, this is the one. I'm struggling. I'm really struggling to call. I'm going to explain my reasoning behind this one. We don't know what Salford's situation is as regards to who's going on the field.
Nope.
More than likely, there's going to have some restrictions there.
Yeah.
So that goes in Huddersfield's favour. We have been far too good in the first half of each game to not be able to put on a bit of a lead, even if it is in the first half. At some point, we're going to have to win, surely.
Yeah.
And if it's going to be any game, it's this one. And I need some points on the board because I want to beat Earl. So I'm gonna go for a Huddersfield 1-8. And if we lose this, mark my words, I will never vote for Huddersfield to win a game again the rest of the season.
If they don't win this, do you fear for Luke?
I do, but I don't think Luke is one bit of an issue here.
No.
That's a tough question to ask me. If you can read between the lines a little bit,
yeah,
and think about what you said earlier.
Yeah, I'm there.
Yeah, Luke is not the problem. Luke is actually the answer.
Oof, that's a massive vote of confidence from you there, with regards to Luke's concerned. I think it's a fascinating fixture. I think obviously the win against Bradford will have done Salford a bit of good. I think we'd have to say that. I think it will have done them a fair bit of good. Credit was given at full time for Chris Hill, who we've been critical of, let's be honest, and Almonroyd's efforts against Bradford. But with the greatest of respect to Bradford, they're not a Super League side. I'd like to see Chris do 80 against the Giants, I'd have to say. It's a different level altogether. But again, you can't knock it. Chris and Almonroyd did really well. I've got to back Huddersfield, and unlike you lads who are seeing it 1-8, I'm seeing it 9-17. Wow. I think Huddersfield in this one. I think they need to play for Luke, and I think they need to, as Joel said earlier in the show, Luke bleeds claret and gold, and he deserves a performance from his troops that is befitting of his passion for his club. I've got no doubt that Luke is saying, he's speaking from the heart in training, in dressing rooms. We want, there's a lot of money in that, a lot of money being spent on that squad. We laughed last year about Leroy Cudjoe getting we weren't laughing at Leroy, we keep saying that. Leroy deserved the player of the season, but we laughed at all of these other players on big money that couldn't beat Leroy Cudjoe in the twilight of his career to that award. These men now need to stand up. Tuilola needs to rein it in. And in the same spirit as we said, Catalan Dragons needed to play basics of rugby league and get the job done against Leeds Rhinos, and did. That's what is required here from Huddersfield. They've got the personnel to just play solid professional rugby league and to get the job done. And again, no disrespect to Salford. Salford will do the best, I'm sure, but we don't know what that looks like at this moment in time from week to week. But yeah, I think this is where Luke gets his first, his first win of the season. So I'm going Luke. I'm backing him. I'm going to go 9-17. Right, lads. If that was a discussion, this is a belting discussion. What a game this is. What a game. This weekend we are blessed because we have got some belting games this weekend. This is another one. What a game. Wakefield Trinity, Hull FC. Both will go into this with bags of confidence. This is going to be a barnstormer. This is going to be a great, great game of rugby league. I don't think either will leave much on the field. Steph, we'll start with you on this one. How exciting a match is this all of a sudden?
Well, absolutely, Dave. It's become probably one of the game of the round for me. It's going to be an absolute brilliant game. I'm sure Wakefield will get the pyrotechnics going, get the stadium packed out again, which is exactly what we want to see in Super League. Yeah, it's a tough one to call this. It's so tough. I'm gonna go Wakefield by 1-8. I think but this could be a golden point.
Yeah, tight game. Yeah, I can see why you're going tight on this one. Joel, where are you seeing it?
Once again, this is a really tough call. At the start of the season, you wouldn't be that bothered about watching this, possibly. But now I think it's the one that everyone's dying to see. They're both playing some, let's say it, champagne rugby. It's really good quality. This is really hard. I'm only going to go Wakefield by 1-8 because they're at home. The home support is going to be electric. The ground is very like Cass. It's very on you because they're close to the ground. But I wouldn't be surprised if Hull got a win as well. But it's 1-8 for Wakey just because of home advantage.
Fair enough. Greg, I mean, both will be on a high.
Yeah.
However, FC more so because it was Wigan that they knocked out.
Yeah.
That was a massive scalp. Will that work against FC going into this one?
Do you know what, Dave? You've kind of preempted what I was going to say. I think we've seen over the years that a team has to put in so much effort, not to beat Wigan, but to beat the top teams. Saints and Bradford and Leeds when they're at the top. To beat those teams, you have to put so much, not so much physical effort into it, but also mental effort into it as well. And I just think when you go away to a team like Wigan, it drains you mentally and as well as physically. And I think that as well as Hull did in that second half against Wigan, I think it will take its toll. And I see Wakefield, and no disrespect, Joel, to Huddersfield, I think Wakefield will probably bounce back quicker from that mentally and physically. And I see Wakefield winning 9-17.
You're going bigger. You're going 9-17.
Yeah.
Waker. Yeah. I mean, it's
that big game effect. It has it drains you mentally and physically, and getting up again for a game 4 or 5 days later, those big games tend to have a bigger effect on you mentally and physically. So I'm going Wakefield 9-17.
Yeah, I mean, it's such a tough one. It really is. And again, going back to what we've been saying about John Cartwright, if FC was to back up at Wakefield and get a win, again, it's another tick in the box where Cartwright's concerned, because you're right, to get them, because like I say, the emotion of that, there was a lot of players playing on Saturday that last season went through the mire at FC. So the emotion, the relief, everything about that win would have just been, it's utopia. It's the biggest high that they probably had in many a year on a rugby league field. It was such a big moment, the gravitas of it. So yeah, I think if Cartwright can pull this one off, again, what a tick in the box for John Cartwright. No doubt about that whatsoever. Will he do it? Do you know what? I'm so on the fence with this. So on the fence, because it's a hell of a statement from FC if they do this. It's to the point where you then got to start maybe, and I always say round 8. Anybody who's listened to me for 4 years will know, I always say 8 rounds. After 8 rounds, you get a feeling of where teams are at and who the runners and riders are going to be. If John Cartwright gets a win here at Wakefield all of a sudden you are talking about FC remarkably being playoff contenders, serious playoff contenders. It's that big of a result. To go and do that to Wigan and then back up against the Wakey team that have been brilliant thus far this season and been competitive in every game. Massive. But like you guys, solely because of the emotion of the Wigan win, I am going to go Wakey, and I'm going to go Wakey 1-8. I do think this will be tight. But again, because Wakey perhaps have not had as tough a game and as much of an emotional game. I mean, in some respects, Wakey's got a lot of free hits. They'd have fancied that against Huddersfield today, and they'd have been disappointed if they lost it, but it wouldn't have been the end of the world. And it's the same, like I said, less pressure on them. I think there's probably more expectation on Hull FC than there is on Wakey going into this game. I think the Wakey fans are just enjoying the ride and are daring to dream and probably see the Challenge Cup as their biggest opportunity to maybe get to a major final this year. And it's not beyond them. But I'm just going to go Wakey 1-8. But this time next week, lads, if FC have pulled this one off, I think we'll be probably talking very, very, very nicely about Hull FC and their chances of playoff Rugby League in 2025. Right, if that wasn't good enough, here comes another beauty. St Helens against Warrington. Both sides with major questions against them this season. Major questions. And you wouldn't have thought that when we kicked off the season. But I think both teams at the moment, Saints have probably had a favourable, like we keep saying, a favourable start in terms of the quality of the teams that they've played. But again, Joel, I'll start with you. When you consider that both of these two teams have played Wakefield, Wakefield were good in both. Don't get me wrong, I thought they were good against Saints, but they comfortably beat Warrington. Is that a marker for this game? Do you see this advantage Saints, or actually do you think this could be another step in the right direction for the Wire? What's your thoughts? Mark Sneed expected to play, of course.
Yeah, I think it's always good signs. It's always an indicator. It's not the be all and end all, as you know, but it certainly does have an indication to it. Mark Sneed, great player, but is he just going to be a bit reserved in the first game? Is he going to hold back a little bit just to kind of find his way around the team, just even for the first week, possibly? I think with that, stringed with being Saints at home and the kind of confidence that Saints are building, I would go 1-8 to Saints. But if you'd have asked me this next week, with Mark Sneed being in the team this week, I'd have said a different scoreline. So I think just them two combinations of things might just sneak it for Saints.
So you're going 1-8 St Helens, yeah?
Yeah.
Steph?
Yeah, I think this is going to be a really intriguing game. I think probably the biggest factor for me in this one is who Warrington got back, because obviously Matty Ashton.
Well, we know Duffy. We know Duffy should be back for this one.
Yeah, I was going to say Duffy, Ashton, King, really big strike players for Warrington, and that's going to matter a lot in this game. If Warrington have got those players back, then that could tip the edge in this one. I don't think both sides have set the world on fire in terms of the early season. Home advantage could be a big thing for Saints here. And is it Robertson, is the centre? Is that right?
Yeah, Harry Robertson.
Harry Robertson's been outstanding for Saints this season. Really, really intriguing game, this one. I'm going to go with Saints 1-8.
Saints 1-8. St Helens 1-8. No Percival, that's a big blow for Saints, Greg. Obviously, you've seen Warrington throughout the season, and Saints. Of course, Saints a bit of needle here because Warrington did them every game last season, which I can't remember in the history of man when that last happened. So they'll want a bit of revenge with regards to that. Your thoughts?
No Percival, probably no Batchelor as well. The Saints after failing his HIA.
Right, yeah.
they are big misses. They're big misses for Saints. First of all, with the boot, especially conversions. You know, we've got a great record at the Totally Wicked Stadium. We had a great record against them, and you know, everything about this says that at some point Saints are going to break the fact that we beat them 4 times last season, break the fact that we generally do really, really well at the Totally Wicked Stadium. But I think with the players back, and I think the Sneed factor, I know what Joel's saying, but I think the Sneed factor will kick in. And I think this could be another golden point, by the way. I'm going wire 1-8, and don't be surprised if it's a golden point and Sneed kicks the winning drop goal.
Yeah, no, I think that's a good shout. I mean, look, I think that, we mentioned Sneed, half-backs, Steph was mentioning the likes of Robertson, Dufty, the backs. This is, again, it's forward territory. I think, coming into the game, very similar to when KR went to Saints a couple of weeks ago. We said that the battle of the forwards was going to be really critical. And Alex Walmsley, to his credit, had a great night, but the supporting cast weren't at the races. Of course, they were missing Matty Lees as well that night. Warrington's pack as well hasn't been at the races. So
I think Burgess had got to put some trust in Max Wood. He's got to give him his head and say, right, go on, Max, cause some damage, because he can cause damage. He proved against Widnes when he came on. Musgrove has got to stand up. Musgrove has got to stand up to Walmsley. And and if he can do that, I think that sets a platform. If we can get into the Saints pack early on,
yeah.
And I think that sets the standard for the game. If Saints pack gets knocked back, then I think we got a chance. And I think that might happen.
It is going to be fascinating. But the blueprint of Warrington and Saints games, the amount of these games over the seasons that have ended golden point or very, very tight. So the 1-8 scoreline, I think, is rightly placed, and then it's you toss a coin in terms of who comes out on top, and I've got to go Saints, and I've got to go Saints for the pure reason at this moment in time, who is playing better or appears to be playing better, it is Saints. Now that could all change on Friday night. Warrington could go there and turn it on. Who knows? But at this moment in time, Warrington seem to be stuttering. Saints appear to be in a better place. It's going to be tight, but based on just form, not on what happened last year. It's a whole new season. I'm going to have to go Saints 1-8. It pains me to say that, but it should be a great, great game. Right, we then move on to Saturday. Castleford Tigers taking on the Catalan Dragons. Catalan Dragons without Arthur Morg. This is going to be interesting. Another interesting game. Steph, your thoughts on this?
Yeah, very, very interesting game. I think, obviously, Arthur Morg missing is going to be huge. Sam Tompkins had a great game actually in the Challenge Cup game. So it'd be interesting to see what happens here. I don't know the cast fans on this one. I think we're going to have a big impact. I think home advantage is huge here for Castleford, and if they're going to kickstart the season, I think this is probably the game to do it. So I'm going to go Cast 1-8.
That's a big shout, massive shout from the Sale. Mr. Nixon, do you agree with that?
No, I don't. I think Cass are going to win 9-17.
Who's going to win 9-17?
Yeah.
Cass?
I think Cass. 9-7. Castleford Tigers.
Go on, yeah. 9-17.
I think Catalan are on a spiral that I will probably end up with McNamara being shown the door. I really do. I think.
Good evening, Steve.
No, but I think that they're not performing, and I don't know why they're not performing. with the players they've got, they should be doing better. I think Cass, as it's a tight ground, it'll be cold. You know, Castleford's cold in July, never mind in March. Morning, all our Cass fans. But I just see Catalan capitulating to this one. They've lost Morg, who's a huge, huge loss. I don't care what anybody says about that. And I see Castleford 9-17.
Wow. Joel?
Yeah, Reggie makes a very interesting point there. It is a very cold ground. The wind definitely knows where to blow in that stadium, that's for sure. There's a few factors. There's that. You've got the fans. You've got the pitch size. But I think the biggest one, and it's not the norm, is I think the week off has helped them. Normally, it doesn't always help you. It doesn't always go in your favour. But I think with Cass, it probably has. It's given Danny a chance to just find a few more combinations, a few more training days in with the lads, and then a couple more rest days too. So I think when you look player for player, you would imagine Catalans would have won 18 plus. However, that's just not been the case this season. And I think it'd be silly not to go for Cass for a home win. I'm not going by much. I'm going to go 1-8.
1-8 to Cass.
Yeah.
Fantastic. Well, you're all calling me silly. I'm going Catalan. I'm going Catalan 9-17. I think that win against Featherstone will have helped them. Scoring tries. It's about habits and it's about confidence. Getting over that line is really, really important. And if you consider against Bradford, they were poor. Sorry, Halifax. Sorry, they were poor. They were poor against Halifax in the last round of the cup. Different against Featherstone. And Halifax and Featherstone, not an awful lot in it. Not an awful lot in it in terms of those two teams, but they've just found a way to just batter them at the weekend. And I think that'll have done them good, giving them confidence that they can break down defences. I think, unfortunately for Cass, and I've expected some incomings. They haven't happened. And that I would have expected them maybe in this week off. And it could happen this week, who knows. But as we do this, there have been no incomings. And I think that is a bit of a letdown. I think they need to reinforce that squad. I really do. And I just think if you look at the pack of Castleford and compare it to the pack on a tight pitch, it's about what that grunt down the middle, if you remember, Greg, when Warrington went on that 8-game winning streak 2 years back and they had Michaeli and, they had all the big units, the duds, when it all looked rosy in the Garden, they absolutely bullied on that pitch down the middle. That's where the damage was done. And I see Catalan going there with the big artillery this weekend and just laying down a little bit of a marker that, hey, don't write us off too early. So I'm going Catalan 9-17. Right, we then go to another great game. Hey, here we go again. What a weekend of rugby league we've got here. This is beautiful. Oh yes, come on, bring it on. Leeds Rhinos taking on the Wigan Warriors. Both teams dumped out of the cup, of course, at the weekend. Wigan will be sieving. But for those who watched the documentary, which by the way was exceptional, the Wigan documentary, if you've not watched that yet, go watch it. What a brilliant piece of filmmaking that was. Outstanding. Everything about that, class. But if you remember last season, they had a wobble. And, sometimes teams have wobbles and it all comes at once. And Wigan tend to be that type of team where wobbles come all at once. So be interesting to see if this is their wobble. Will Wigan, the club, be joining the likes of Andy Shute and, our mate Johnny? We're going all this business that we get. Who knows? But yeah, it's a fascinating game. Fascinating game at Headingley. The South Stand, I'm sure, will be jumping. Right, where am I going to start on this one? We'll start with you, Steph. Go on. Leeds against Wigan.
Well, yeah. First of all, what an intriguing game this one is. I think it's going to be absolutely fantastic. One of the best places to watch rugby league in terms of Headingley Stadium. My favourite place. It's going to be an absolute cracker of a game, this. Wigan are going to look for a massive response to what's happened this weekend. Jai Field, I think, is massive in terms of does he recover from that hamstring injury? Does he come back to play?
I don't see how he. Sorry for interrupting. I don't see how he can. If he had a tight hamstring at the weekend, to risk him a week later, I think it's at least 2, maybe even 3. So I would be amazed if Field plays this game.
Well, we'll see. That'll be a big impact on this game. I mean, the thing is with Wigan, they're blessed with riches, aren't they? They can bring Eckersley back. They can move so many players around. So it's one of those. But we've seen over the years so many classic games played between these two sides. The problem I think is for Leeds, they've not been the best of this season. That's we're going to see whether it's going to be about the coaching for me, and whether Brad Arthur, and we've talked about documentaries. Both these sides have brought documentaries out, haven't they? And built the season on documentaries. It's going to be a really interesting game, but for me, I think Wigan are going to come and dominate. I think it's 18+ Wigan.
Wow, Greg?
Yeah, this is one of those games, isn't it? This is one of those games where Leeds react and absolutely smash Wigan, because Wigan are a wounded beast and Wigan are feeling sorry for themselves. And Wigan have got injuries and Jay Field might not play. Or this could be Matty Pete. You know, Matty Pete is a master of bringing his team off the canvas. I think they made a mistake last week not putting Eckersley at fullback when Field went off. I don't think they'll repeat that mistake. I think Eckersley will probably be at fullback. I just think Wigan will be smarting a little bit more. You know, Leeds go to St Helens, teams go to St Helens. You've got it's in the back of the mind that you go to St Helens and you're going to lose. You're playing at home against Hull, a team that everybody expects you to win, and suddenly with 2 minutes to go, you're looking up at the scoreboard and you're behind on that scoreboard. I think Wigan will react, and I think Wigan 9-17.
9-17.
I think Leeds will perform. I just think Wigan will be hurting too much, will want to bite back too much, and just have too much.
Wonderful.
Leeds.
Joel?
I vaguely remember last season, Wigan losing, and the week after we said on Weekly that Wigan's going to come back strong, and I vaguely remember them, I think, doing the opposition by about 40 points. So I just don't see that not happening again. I think Wigan are going to put Leeds to the sword and just say, we're not having that, son. Let's get back to, resume as normal. I'm seeing 18+ Wigan because I'm just not seeing enough from Leeds right now to stop them.
Yeah, no, I agree. I think it's Wigan. I think Wigan will bounce back. I think Wigan will be too strong. Field's a massive loss. I think Field. I say I'd be amazed if Field plays. Honestly, if he had a tight hamstring, to be right again the week after that. That would be a big surprise. Because if it wasn't that bad, I think he stays on. So I would expect there's at least a couple of weeks there for Jai Field. And the form he's been in, that's a big blow. But then we saw Eckersley against Saints last year come in at fullback and went away with a man of the match award, had a cracking game at fullback. So there's no doubt, Eckersley at fullback, Miskey will be brought back in. I think there's no question. What we've seen is that Bevan French will not be playing fullback for Wigan, I don't think, ever again. That just didn't, it's remarkable, really. Super Bevan. He wasn't that super at fullback, bless him, at the weekend. He'll be having nightmares about Lewis Martin. But yeah, he'll be back in at 6. I think there's no doubt about that. That really poor player that can't play with Jai Field will have a shocker in Harry Smith. I don't even know why they'll pick him. Maybe Farman should start instead of Smith. I don't know. But I'm sure Harry will just about scrape a just about scrape the number 7 shirt on the day. I'm going Wigan 9-17. I would have got 18 plus, but I think that the field factor, the form that Field has been in, that's where the 18 goes for me. I think Leeds, like you say, will probably have a good hour, and then after that, I think Wigan might just turn on the afterburners, but not by 3 tries. We'll see. And then, if that wasn't enough, what a way to bring the curtain down. What a weekend of rugby league we've got here, lads. Oh, dearie me. I don't know. Wow. Just simply wow. Whoa. Oh, let's just sit back and just for a moment, just bask in the glory of what we've got to look forward to. Before we even go there, let's just recap. Bottom of the table drama. The up and coming Wake against FC. Which one is the real deal this year? The two sides that for all the world you'd have thought to perform better than they have, coming head to head with all the rivalry and toxicity of this particular clash. There's a good one on a Sunday night. Then you've got Castleford taking on the Dragons. And again, great fare. Leeds against Wigan. And then, to finish it off. Oh, what a game. Arguably the 2 form teams of the comp thus far this season. First against second. Tell you, wonderful. That wasn't wobbling. That was shivers, ladies and gentlemen. That's how good this weekend is. Shivering at the thought of all this wonderful fare. We'll come to Steph last. Greg, are you as excited about the final game as you have been about the other 5?
Why is this on Super League Plus? Why is this not on Sky Sports?
Well, there you go.
Why?
I don't know.
Well, anyway, I'll be tuning in at 3 o'clock on Sunday. Do you know what? This is a close one to call. Will Artemog make his debut? Will he make his debut? Possible. And you know what? This Saints Warrington, Leeds Wigan, this is going to be the game of the round. I have absolutely no doubt about that. And again, I'm thinking this could well go to a golden point because both teams are so evenly matched. And I think purely, Steph, and I apologise, I think purely home advantage on this one is making me go Hull KR 1-8.
Wonderful. Joel?
So far, definitely the round of the season. Might have been round of the last 2 seasons, possibly.
It's just perfect, isn't it? The way this round has materialised, where the league tables are, the drama of the cup as well at the weekend, it's just fallen beautifully, hasn't it? What a great round.
Drama, emotion, commotion, and the rest that comes with it. Absolutely.
And a locomotion if you win. Go on, lad, get your best Kylie shirt on. Son.
This one's going to be a really good game. Everything tells me, or screams at me, that Leigh's going to do it. Hull KR, fantastic team, especially at home. But Leigh, Steph, you've got a team there, bud. My word. I've got to go Leigh 1-8. There's just something telling me that you're going to do it.
Massive shout. Leigh 1-8 by Joel. We'll let Steph have the last word in a minute. Ladies and gentlemen, do I need to big this up? Probably not. David Armstrong at fullback, Artemog on debut, Petterhick, who arguably one of the standout centres, was for me the standout centre of 2024, should have been in the dream team, coming up against Tessie New. Oh yes, have a little bit of that. Then you've got the likes of Lockie Lamb and Mikey Lewis in the middle, just pulling the strings. 2 wonderful hookers in Mr. Litton and Mr. Ipape, of course. Robbie Mulhern, will he feature question marks over that one as well? Oh yes, there'll be plenty of Biff in the pack as well. 3 o'clock on Sunday. I'm getting all giddy here, don't mind telling you. What a game, ladies and gentlemen. If you don't watch this, what are you doing on a Sunday afternoon? Shocking effort. Take a look in the mirror at yourselves. Fantastic fare. Come on, have a bit of this. Anyway, how do I see it? Home advantage. I'm with Greg. If this was at the LSV, I'm going 1-8. But it's not. It's at Craven Park, so I'm going 1-8 KR. You cannot split for me these 2 teams going into this game. The only thing, and I keep going back to it, and they'll probably prove me wrong again, if I was to pick a pack that at this moment in time just looks a bit more solid. If Mulhern comes in, and Steph will talk about that in a minute, there's rumours out that Mulhern is not as bad as first feared. That would be a massive win for Leigh. But the pack at KR at this moment in time just seems to be in better fettle. That for me is where it is. I think the backs are even on both sides. It's the packs. Steph, we've literally got 4 minutes. So sum it up. Is Mulhern playing? And how do you see your team going at Craven Park?
No, I don't think he is. I think Frankie Holton's a massive miss as well in this game for Leigh. I think you're absolutely right to say the packs. The pack is going to be where this game is won. I think Hull KR's pack is going to dominate Leigh, unfortunately, in this one. I'm going to go Hull KR 9-17. I think the home advantage.
Wow.
It's going to be a great spectacle. This one, I think, this is what Super League's all about for me. This is going to be a real humdinger of a Sunday afternoon fixture. But I just think at this time in the season, with the way Leigh are at the moment with injuries, I just think Hull KR are the stronger side. I hope I'm wrong, obviously, but I just see. Morg is going to be a massive factor. Morg, I think, is going to be a really good addition to Hull KR's team, but that pack is scary. So I'm going Hull KR 9-17.
You wouldn't want to be Steph at the Leopards then the next time they're at home, would you? Deary me. But hey, you know what, though? I can see his point. So Joel backing the Leopards. Yeah, there you go. They'll be the Roarers. Next time Joel's there at the Leopards den, make sure
he's getting loads of beers.
Yeah, get loads of beers in for Joel, and then get an extra one and pour it over Steph's head. Shocking effort. Absolutely shocking effort for Mr. Sale, that.
Give your head a wobble.
Give your head a wobble, Mr. Sale. There is that little bit of me this year that thinks that Steph's doing this just so he can go, we're great, aren't we? We're a lot better than
hang on. We're playing one of the best sides in the competition.
Absolutely.
And Hull KR are absolutely outstanding, so there's no give your head a wobble here.
And that, ladies and gentlemen, was Steph's best impression of Ronnie Barker in open all hours. Anyway, that's another story. Ladies and gentlemen, it's been an absolutely brilliant conversation. We hope you appreciate the fact that, obviously, we couldn't put this out live because I'm working on Tuesday night, but we didn't want to let you down. We wanted to give you a Super League Raw Weekly. This has been Super League Raw Weekly. We hope you've enjoyed it. Of course, a lot of news will have probably come out between now and then, but we have got the captain's run for you, 6 o'clock. On Thursday, where we will get into even more detail on the round 5 games and maybe pick up on anything that happens between now and then. But on behalf of Greg, Joel, Steph, and myself, have a great week. Enjoy the social club on Wednesday. We'll be back on Thursday for the captain's run. In the Sheds, he's back all over again, of course, at the weekend. And we will see you live next Tuesday at 8 p.m. because after all, gentlemen,
you can't be a bit
weak. We'll see you next time.
Take care.